response. Fortunately, no one responded that they objected to that marriage.
How do you reduce your playing time? Object to having to play defense. But that is going to be the emphasis for Michigan, is on the defensive end first and foremost.
Our Buffalo Wild Wings starting lineups. Chris Haas, the leading scorer from last year for Bucknell, struggled in the opener for the Bison this year, just 2 for 10 from the floor. We talked about the big three, but Mark Donnell in the middle, 9 points in the opener for the freshman.
Gives them a big body inside, redshirted last year, so not very experienced. I also expect to see Ricky Doyle, another freshman forward, coming off the bench.
On Saturday, Michigan beat Hillsdale College 92-68, but before the game, the banner raising, and always a fun moment. Everybody got their rings, everybody got to celebrate. A last look back at a memorable season last year for Michigan, but John Beilein is talking repeatedly about that was then, this is now, and now is a retooling, a reconstruction of the Michigan program.
Well, I'll tell you what, you lose 2 first-round draft picks to the NBA, and then you come back the next year, you win your league by 3 games. That's the difference between having a great team and a great program. But 2 years, Kevin, of this kind of attrition, I think is going to take its toll a little bit more this season.
You saw Dave Paulson, the former grad assistant here at Michigan, under Coach Fisher's squad the year after the championship year. Bucknell with the basketball as we get things started. Dom Hoffman rotates it around to Chris Haas. Haas trying to get it started early. Good defense by Michigan. Bucknell will play deliberate. They are not going to be overwhelmingly aggressive offensively. Haas had it stripped and a foul.
Kind of a lazy reach there by LeVert at the end of the shot clock, but that is going to be the style contrast of this game. Bucknell wants this game to be in the 50s, maybe the low 60s. Michigan wants to try to get it up into the 70s, possibly the 80s. Of course, Beilein has never lost a game when his team has scored 80 or more points. I don't think they'll get that tonight.
Quick trigger off the inbound for Dom Hoffman, and he can't get the roll. Derek Walton with the rebound. Now Walton on the push. Transition will be key tonight for Michigan. They want to run. They want to get the offense going.
Bucknell's best perimeter defender is Ryan Frazier. He's 6 foot, trying to guard the 6'7" Karis LeVert. So LeVert should have a big night.
LeVert over Frazier. A little bit strong, and the long rebound out to Haas. Here's Frazier. Not as big a threat on the offensive end as he is on that defensive end.
So Michigan's going to switch on a lot of screens 1 through 4 tonight, and they get the turnover early.
Hoffman with the travel.
You switch on those screens up top, Kevin, and you keep Bucknell from entering the paint, not only to be able to score, but also on the offensive glass. Nice rotation there from Donnell. But Bucknell's a good rebounding team, out-rebounded Marist by 12 in the opener. Michigan can limit that. They should get plenty of transition opportunities.
Zach Irvin with the first 2 of the night for Michigan. Now remember, Michigan started 1 for 7 on Saturday against Hillsdale. Looking for a faster and cleaner start in this one. Casper over to Haas. Haas a little bit strong on the 3 and the rebound to LeVert. Cameron Chapman on the scoop. A little bit short. Good work inside by Donnell.
What a great weapon to have someone like Karis LeVert at 6'7", be able to grab that defensive rebound and push the break.
Chapman from the elbow is good. Cameron Chapman playing in that Glenn Robinson III spot from a year ago, but nobody expects him to be Glenn Robinson III just quite yet.
He should be Cameron Chapman the first, but not a great jump shooter. So to see him show a little bit of range, he was 1 for 7 in the opener. That's a promising sign. Get his confidence going. The most heralded in terms of the recruiting rankings of all the Michigan freshmen.
15 to shoot for Frazier. Frazier staring at a lot of size when he tried to penetrate. Casper with 7 to shoot. Casper on the dish, poked away by Walton. Shot clock down to 2 and a takeaway by Michigan. LeVert, the no-look to got the bucket and the foul.
6'7", grabs the defensive rebound, doesn't have to throw the outlet, and the perfect feed to Irvin. Just a beautiful play by LeVert. A guy had 9 assists and no turnovers. He's going to do that this season. Look at him, his head up. He looks like a point guard. That's next level action right there. Beautiful play by LeVert. What a story he is. We all know coming out of high school, and originally committed to Ohio U. John Gross leads, ends up at Michigan, an unbelievable leap from his freshman to his sophomore year. Now preseason, all Big Ten. That's what hard work, determination, and perseverance can do.
The defense part of the marriage talked about at the top of the broadcast working so far. Bucknell 4 possessions, 0 for 2 and 2 turnovers tonight. Bucknell with the foul for Michigan.
I feel like we should throw rose petals or something every time Michigan makes a good defensive play. Is that what Bakari wants? I think he just wants a nice gift.
Can't throw rice anymore because of the danger of the pigeons.
Is that right?
I don't see any in here.
Is there a pigeon problem in Chrysler?
Let's hope not. Max Bielfeldt replacing Mark Donnell.
Interesting that Beeline goes with Bielfeldt over Ricky Doyle. Likes those big bodies.
Haas had it tipped inside and taken away. Another good defensive play by Michigan. Karis LeVert on the push.
He just looks so confident bringing up that basketball. He's going to have a big-time season.
Bielfeldt, quick 3 off the bench. And Max Bielfeldt, who hit 3 all of last year, drains one to make it 10-0 Michigan.
Is there a place for a center to make a three-pointer in the wedding tonight? Because if he does that, then I think we can excuse him if he has some defensive lapses.
Might get to be best man, if nothing else. Frazier on the no-look. Nice drive and dish, and a good finish inside for Nana Fowler, highly touted freshman for Bucknell.
This is exactly what Dave Paulson did not want for Bucknell. Have the Wolverines get off to a good start in front of the home crowd, some confidence.
LeVert off the mark, Casper the rebound. Frazier with Hoffman. Now back to Frazier, and a travel is called. Another turnover for Bucknell, another empty possession, and a timeout on the floor. Great start for Michigan. 10-2. How good a start? Bielfeldt's hitting open threes, and Michigan by 8. Up against Penn State and got the win in State College a year ago. And Seth, this is not necessarily out of the norm for Bucknell over the years. They've had some big wins over some big-time programs.
Well, and of course they had 3 straight Patriot League titles. Well, remember their NCAA tournament upset over Kansas and the later Arkansas. Mike Muscala, now a member of the Atlanta Hawks. But this is also kind of a rebuilding or reconstructing year for Bucknell as well. They lost 3 starters, including Patriot League Player of the Year Cameron Ayers. So a little bit tough assignment tonight. Already 3 turnovers as well, Kevin. Bucknell has to take care of the ball and slow down this game, or it's going to get away from them quickly.
Walton, a nice little elbow jumper to make it 12-2 Michigan.
And that's exactly what Beeline wants from Walton this year. He wants him hunting his shot. About halfway through last season, the light went on for him a little bit. He got assertive, he got confident, and that was the huge factor in Michigan winning the Big Ten. He's going to definitely be looking to score a lot more this season.
And he did a lot of work in the offseason to get stronger and quicker, and it paid off. Offensive opportunity off the glass. Haas, open 3, and Haas drains it. He's a good 3-point shooter, 40% plus last year for Bucknell. Spike Albrecht off the bench to Zach Irvin.
He's the old man, by the way. He's a junior. He's long in the tooth, 22 years old on this team.
The oldest player on this squad as Walton drives with a left hand. We saw the little elbow jumper, and now the left-handed drive.
Yeah, he's going to be a lot for Steve Casper to handle, too. I mean, Casper goes 6'3", 196. Derek Walton's shorter but stronger, uses his strength well, too. Kind of like Ty Lawson used to do at North Carolina.
DJ McClay working inside. Nice work by the sophomore from San Antonio.
That's the soft spot in Michigan's defense. If they can get the ball into the post, Bucknell, they can score from there. But so far, not a whole lot of success getting the ball down there.
Bielfeldt tries again and hits again. Max Bielfeldt.
Hose him down. Hose him down. That'll get you some minutes, young man. See, he gave up the bucket on the defensive end, and then he makes the 3. 3's more than 2. What's Bakari talking about?
He's got a career high 6 minutes into the ball game.
He's going to earn himself some minutes on this team.
And the turnover for Bucknell. Michigan already 7 points off Bucknell turnovers. And Bielfeldt cashing in with another 3.
Well, you can see there's a reason why he's open. I don't think it was in the scouting report. We got to lock up on Bielfeldt from 3.
Missed most of the offseason after he had hip surgery, and looks good so far with the shot from behind the arc.
And this is his first act of the season. He didn't even play in the opener against Hillsdale.
McClay the rebound off the miss. Down Azanero. Now Haas again. Bielfeldt giving him some attention.
Nowhere for Haas to go. Can't turn the corner.
McClay long two. No good. Rebound tipped from Urban to Walton. Walton around the Bielfeldt screen. Walton's going to start it over and reset. Walton coming off that 22-point performance in the opener. Nearly turns it over. Good hands by Spike Albrecht. Albrecht on the drive. Cannot get it, but he draws the foul. Foul going on J.C. Shao, his first. And the AP top 25. Kentucky #1, Wisconsin there at #3. And then you see the rest of the Big Ten squad in the top 25. Michigan State, Ohio State, Nebraska, and these Michigan Wolverines. And
that shows you the gap between Wisconsin, I think, and the rest of the league. And we're going to find out a lot about Michigan State tomorrow night when they play Duke in Chicago. They were highly unimpressive in their opener against Navy. Navy lost their best player about midway through the first half and still hung with Michigan State pretty much to the wire.
We were out at that game on Friday night at the Naval Academy, out there doing football on Saturday in Maryland. A lot of Big Ten basketball fans in that building. Albrecht on the drive, dishing to Bielfeldt for the two-handed stop. Who knew that it would be the Max Bielfeldt show so far tonight? 8 points in this first half. Azanero trying to quiet the crowd. He cannot, and the foul is called.
Nice defensive box out by Levert. Let's watch here as our man Spike drawing the baseline, drawing 3 defenders. It was interesting, Kevin, because he declined to enter the post pass into Bielfeldt in the first place, turns down the screen, draws 2 defenders, and hooks it back to him.
Timeout on the floor. Michigan up by 12.
A lot of money over a long number of years. It's a nice problem when you have to keep a guy out of your gym, but it is a bit of a problem. And they put a screw in his foot in the offseason, and just looks terrific.
Ryan Frazier's second foul on that attempt from Levert. That's a big second foul. He's their defensive stopper, their best defensive guy in the backcourt. And that does not bode well for Bucknell.
So Paulson goes to his bench and says, all right, who wants to guard Karis LeVert? Guys look at each other like, yeah, I'll pass on that, coach.
Here's Casper.
Switching all those screens up top. Hard to turn the corner.
Schau way off the mark on the 3. Albrecht a push now for Michigan in transition. Albrecht, good hands by Hoffman to knock it away.
He had Walton in the corner, missed him. A lot of times last year, Kevin, Albrecht would come in to spell Derek Walton Jr. I think they're going to play a lot together this season. That's going to be a big difference.
Urban for 3. Hits the 3. Zach Urban raining it down. 21 points in the opener. And Urban already with 8 tonight.
That's what he does best. Shot 43% from behind the arc last season.
9 for 13 for Michigan to start this ball game. Again, 1 for 7 started their night on Saturday against Hillsdale College. And a foul sends us to a break. 24-7. Michigan in control early at home. Urban raining down from outside.
That's how highly I think of them. We've seen what LeVert can do tonight. And D'Angelo Russell is already off to a nice start at Ohio State. That's a great example, Kevin, of a situation where you have a talented player filling an important need on a team. Ohio State lost a lot with Aaron Craft and the Quentin Ross. D'Angelo Russell is a very mature, very versatile freshman. He's going to put up big numbers for the Buckeyes, and I think Ohio State is definitely in that second-tier mix of teams who will challenge Wisconsin in the Big Ten.
Michigan 9 field goals, 7 assists, and a 10-0 run over the last nearly 3 minutes.
And just to be clear, by the way, Max Bielfeldt has scored 38 points in his entire career, and he has 8 tonight. If he hits one more three-pointer, he's got 3 for his career, so he'll have 3 on the night. I think he should make the 3 and run up the tunnel and never be heard from again. He
just disappear?
Just leave campus. I think Beeline was keeping that under his sleeve, didn't tip us off that he would go to Bielfeldt early. He's got Ricky Doyle, the freshman, in there now, so he can get some growing up time for his young freshman, as this game is firmly in control early on, just as he wanted it to be.
I believe George Costanza called your suggestion for Bielfeldt leaving on a high note.
Drop the mic.
Hoffman with the rebound off the miss and out of bounds.
That's only Bucknell's second offensive rebound tonight. That was a big point of emphasis for Michigan as well.
Chris Haas in the corner, got the screen from Hoffman, and he floats it up and in. You can see what they like about Chris Haas. He's pretty smooth.
He is pretty smooth, but he's struggling a little bit with the move from being the third guy in the scouting report to the first one. He was only 2 for 10 in their season opener. In fact, J.C. Schall, the freshman, came in and spelled them against Marist and helped them win the game, scoring 7 points in the last 2 minutes. But Chris Haas is a tall, athletic guy who can shoot. Just got to keep his confidence when things don't go well.
2 for 5 so far tonight. The foul on Stephen Casper, trying to defend Karis LeVert. Not an easy task for Casper, his first.
I mean, LeVert just using his size. He's got Casper on his shoulder all the way down the lane. It's a simple game, Kevin. You got a 4 or 5 inch height advantage. Move your defender closer to the basket. Karis LeVert playing old man basketball tonight.
LeVert back to Albrecht. Trying to knock it away. Fallon tips it out of bounds, denying the pass into the post to Ricky Doyle. Albrecht feeding inside. LeVert halfway through this first half as Albrecht goes to work. LeVert crashing inside, a little bit out of control, but he got fouled. Second on Casper.
Like Albrecht loves that right baseline, turns down another high screen from Ricky Doyle, finds the open man.
DJ Wilson on the floor now for Michigan. Walton inside with the bucket and the foul. Albrecht showing off the passing skills here in this first half.
Not much going right for Bucknell in the early going. You see Albrecht getting the screen up top from DJ Wilson. Walton rather, and then Albrecht with the feed. All Michigan, my man, all Michigan. A big question that I have for this team, Kevin, once they get into conference play, are they going to be able to handle the physical nature of Big Ten basketball? We know their guards are good. They're going to make jump shots. They're going to get transition opportunities. But you see that as an example of Ricky Doyle, who's bigger than another freshman, not a Fallon for Bucknell, and just getting pushed under the basket. At some point, Ricky Doyle is going to have to play to his size. That's Big Ten basketball right there. That's going to be my big question for Michigan.
LeVert around the Doyle screen, dishing to Doyle. Doyle muscles it up and got the roll. Good work by Ricky Doyle inside.
Working well with LeVert. The thing about John Beeline's offense, it's not like a motion offense where guys can come in the playoff instinct. It's a very intricate, patterned offense with a lot of terminology. I mean, a lot of terminology in set plays. It's very difficult to come into this system as a freshman and feel like things are coming to you naturally. That happened with Derek Walton Jr. last year. It took him half the season just to feel comfortable running this type of offense.
And you can see you hate to use the cliche, the light came on, but you can really see that with Derek Walton right now.
Right, and it comes on slowly. You know, it comes on progressively.
The 2 for Dom Hoffman. So Bucknell back on the board.
The good news and bad news for Michigan is they have to play their young guys. They don't have a choice. He's going to have to throw them to the fire. So they're going to have to grow up quickly. He'd like to bring them along slowly. He'd like to redshirt a couple of guys like he did with Bucknell last season. Not an option.
The pull up for LeVert a little bit short, and it's knocked out of bounds off of Bucknell. Fallon trying to grab that rebound, couldn't control it. DJ McClay back in and checking in for the first time tonight and the first time this season for Bucknell, Stephen Brown. Cameron Chapman returns for Michigan.
So the original starting five now back in for Michigan with Chapman and Bucknell on the front line.
Levert backs up for the three. Bucknell there for the rebound, puts it back up, but he's fouled. Mark Bucknell, strong finish there, and he'll go to the line for the chance at the three-point play.
Excellent pursuit of the basketball from Bucknell. Had a smaller defender on his back. Watch him set the screen. And he maneuvers his way around DJ McClay. You know, it's one thing to be bigger than your defender, the guy you're going up against. A lot of guys don't play to their size, don't use their size advantage. That's what Bucknell's going to have to learn how to do.
31-13. What a start tonight for Michigan. Hoffman on the handoff. Stephen Brown. Haas backs up for a deep three. And the rebound to Walt.
One and done. No offensive rebounds for Bucknell.
Walt going all the way coast to coast. Cannot finish. But there's Bucknell with the tip out. Irvin for three.
Might have been an extra step for Mr. Walton. Or did he do the Ginobili?
Mark Bucknell with the tip out. The finish from three. Michigan up big.
Swinging it to Zach Irvin, and that's what he does best. Excellent three-point shooter. Converted 43% from behind the line last year. That's the good news. The bad news is he didn't get to the foul line enough. Shot 21 free throws all season. 10 for 13 in 18 Big Ten games. So I mentioned in the open, Kevin, about Irvin and Derek Walton getting better. For Walton, it's about hunting his shot. For Irvin, it's about putting it on the deck, creating opportunities, getting to the foul line. He was 2 for 2 in the opener. It was not bad, but I'd like to see him get more aggressive, create plays for his teammates, be a more all-around player. He's done an excellent job with his body, by the way, about 15 pounds stronger since the end of last season.
Hoffman from the free throw line. Rebound by Zach Irvin. Another one-and-done trip for Bucknell.
Excellent pursuit of the basketball by Irvin there. 6'6", 215. You should rebound well from the guard position if you have the will. And as I said, they're going to need it when they get into conference play because they're not physically strong up front.
And Walton fouled by Stephen Brown. Foul troubles in the backcourt. A one-on-one opportunity for Michigan after the timeout. The championship banner looking on from last year here in Ann Arbor. Coverage starts at 7 Eastern on BTN and BTN to go. Great doubleheader on Wednesday. Good start here for Michigan. 28-9 a year ago, 15-3 in the league, and of course, all the way to the Elite Eight, and oh so close in the Elite Eight a year ago.
Yeah, Michigan fans, of course, are devastated when Aaron Harrison makes a three, but when Trey Burke shoots a 30-footer against Kansas, that's the natural order of things, right?
Absolutely.
It's like in golf. When the round is over, you think about all those 3-footers you missed, but the 15-footer that went in. A little bit of a rebuilding mode. Here's what John Beilein loves about tonight, by the way. And on the season so far, Karis LeVert tonight with their opening win. 14 assists and no turnovers.
Wonderful.
And he's got 2 points tonight. I mean, I love that Karis LeVert only has 2 points.
Well, he said he's the best guy on the team in getting in the lane with balance to find the open people. A little lob there from Chapman, too far for LeVert.
Chapman tried to hit a home run there.
Walt trying to hit the three, cannot, and the rebound to Corey Starkey.
When you're up 34-13, just swing for the fences. Not a problem. Not a problem. Bucknell not getting on the offensive glass at all tonight.
Chapman a little redemption there with the hands. Chapman and a foul on the other end. So feast or famine for Cameron Chapman. Well, last year, of course, Michigan made that great run all the way to the Elite Eight and became one of the many victims of Aaron Harrison's heroics in the NCAA tournament a year ago. That game was a tremendous basketball game.
One of the best of the tournament for sure. What a season Michigan had. I mean, mentioned this at the top, Kevin. You're talking about losing 2 first-round NBA draft picks. And the thing about this program and what John Beilein has done is he hadn't done it with a bunch of All-Americans out of high school. I mean, Cameron Chapman played in the Jordan Brand Classic. Mitch McGarry was a big-time recruit. That's probably the one guy that sticks out. But everybody else who's come from this program and excelled. You look at Karis LeVert, originally committing to Ohio University. out of high school. Trey Burke, of course, was from Columbus and didn't even get recruited by Ohio State. Nobody had any idea how good he was. He knows what he likes, and he knows how to develop talent. You see Derek Walton pushing and pushing on the break. That young man's confidence is certainly soaring.
DJ McClay with the personal foul. Rather, J.C. Shao with the personal foul. That'll be his second. Michigan at the line, 4 for 6 now, 5 for 7 on the make from Derek Walton.
Which one of us said that Michigan was not going to get 80 points tonight? I think that was you.
Wasn't it you?
I
don't remember having that conversation with you.
Can we run the tape back on that, guys? Because I'm sure that Kevin Kugler said there's no way Michigan's getting 80 tonight. They got 35 with 6:10 to go.
Maybe they'll cool off. Not likely, the way they're playing so far. Still 62% from the floor as Walton good on both. Already Urban in double figures, Walton with 9, Bielfeldt with 8, just as predicted for Bielfeldt.
I told you tonight.
You said
it's tonight's be Bielfeldt's night. Yes.
I believe you wrote it in Sharpie.
I go Sharpie on this one pretty soon, I'll tell you that.
Haas, the entry pass into the post and went past Corey Starkey. Starkey, as there's John Beilein, the Michigan head coach, the 80 points is the magic number. 40-0 when scoring 80. Nell for 3. And the rebound knocked out off of Urban, and it's going to go back to Bucknell. Bucknell's turned it over on 3 of their last 4 possessions. Overall on the night, 8 Bucknell turnovers, just 2 for Michigan. And defense and rebounding, Bucknell shooting 33%, Michigan out rebounding Bucknell 14-9. Fowler inside, nice little hook against Donnell, and back to the point you were making earlier. If there's an Achilles heel for Michigan, we may have just seen an example of it.
No question, no question. Now, there aren't a lot of great post players in the Big Ten, you know, outside of Wisconsin, obviously. It's a little frightening to think about Frank Kaminsky posting up against this bunch. Zach Urban hits another 3, but that's the kind of thing that's just going to have to develop over the long term. And you overcome that, Kevin, with great perimeter defense and also taking care of the basketball so you can control possessions.
Haas on the drive inside, and Haas draws the contact. Zach Urban, 3 made threes. He's got a game-high 14.
Donnell setting the screen right there at the foul line, and Urban slipping right over it. Wants to call home. Mom, I hit a 3 again.
Speaking of home, Chris Haas at the free throw line is back home. One of 2 Michigan natives on this Bucknell roster. And it was interesting looking at these 2 rosters before the game. Bucknell with more Michigan natives on their roster than Michigan.
Derek Walton is the only one from Michigan from the 3-1-3 over in Detroit. That's another thing about the way Beilein has built this program. You know, with transfers and redshirting and recruiting diamonds in the rough and going out of state. I've never, Kevin, understood the logic. If you get Michigan, you got to recruit the state of Michigan. If you get the Illinois job, you got to recruit in Illinois. It's a big country out there. You can get guys from all over. I mean, Cameron Chapman's a great example. Here's a kid from Portland, Oregon. He gets recruited by Arizona, pretty good program. Gets recruited by Oregon, USC. Wants to come to Ann Arbor. And as an LA native, I can tell you it is colder in Ann Arbor than in Arizona.
Yes, it is.
But the basketball is excellent.
If you can get a Michigan native like Derek Walton Jr., you're going to grab him too. Albrecht on the dish, and Urban misses the slam. Walton, though, able to grab the loose ball and put it in. We've seen some nifty passing tonight from Spike Albrecht. Urban came up empty on that thunderous attempt. 11 for Walton now, second Wolverine in double figures. Karis LeVert just 2 points, 0 for 4 from the floor.
Love it.
But 6 assists for LeVert, and it's out of bounds to Michigan. Turnover number 9.
Zach Irvin drank a little bit of Sprite this morning, but Derek Walton coming up with the basketball on the follow.
41-17 under 4 minutes to go in this first half.
Michigan looks very much in sync on the offensive end. They're in midseason form offensively, obviously not the strongest competition.
Bielfeldt looking for double figures, couldn't get it, and fouling the rebound. Fallon. Very raw post for Bucknell. Long on that three. Fallon tips the rebound to Walt. Irvin trying to find LeVert in the corner, and it's tipped out by Ryan Frazier. Timeout on the floor. Michigan 41, Bucknell 17.
Indiana had 25 in the opener, 19 tonight against Texas Southern. That's very impressive. And how about Vic Law, the freshman Northwestern? Can Chris Collins get Northwestern to the tournament? I don't think so this year. I think they're still at least 1, if not 2 years away. But the trajectory there leaves me no doubt that it's only a matter of time before he gets Northwestern to their first NCAA tournament. And Cam Chapman's going to be he's going to be a work in progress. I mean, he feels a need here on this team. They lost their entire front court. Mitch McGarry turned pro, and maybe he was going to come back. John Horford transferring to Florida was a big-time surprise because he would have gotten major minutes in the front court after playing in a reserve role.
Bielfeldt with 10.
Drop the mic, Max. Drop the mic.
10 points tonight for Bielfeldt.
A terrific development for Michigan because we're talking about how young they are up front. You got a senior. By the way, did not even play in the game against Hillsdale in their opener.
His best game as the travel gives it back to Michigan. His best game last year, 4 points against Houston Baptist.
So this is better.
This is better. 10 is better than 4. And here's the 10.
Body. Look him spinning around Hoffman to get the offensive rebound. Nifty little putback. Where you been all my life, Max?
Stay tuned for the State Farm Halftime Report. My call, Stephen Bardo. Sean Morris will be along from our Chicago studio with a State Farm Halftime Report coming up in moments. Albrecht missing on the 3. And Haas the rebound for Bucknell. And then a travel. Turnover number 11 in the first half for Bucknell. And nice. This is not what Dave Paulson wanted to see.
That's not how you get Capone with all these turnovers. But Spike Albrecht doing a great job just jumping in front of the guy. Forcing the walk. He's an old man at 22 on this roster.
Zach Thomas off the Bucknell bench.
That's another thing that Beeline talks a lot about. He knows everybody's birthdays. He talks about these guys are young for their class. Derek Walton is a sophomore, is 19 years old. Karis LeVert turned 20 in August. Zach Irvin turned 20 in September. You go around the country, you see a lot of freshmen who are older than that.
Albrecht. Not much there. Irvin hits the long 2 in the corner.
Nice off the bounce too, Zach Irvin. That's the little new wrinkle. Still like to see him get to the cup. This is the kind of a game where he should really be shooting a lot of free throws.
Bucknell's been having trouble shooting anything. 6 turnovers their last 10 possessions. Make it 7 and 11. LeVert trying to push it. LeVert dishing to Bielfeldt. Scoops it up. And a foul. Steven Casper picks up his 3rd personal foul.
I just want to warn everybody, I'm about to go full man crush on Karis LeVert. I mean, you have got to be kidding me at 6'7". It's so interesting to see a young man get better year after year in college. That's what college basketball used to be about. Instead of just coming in and he could have taken that and scored. Instead, he feeds the big man. You go from being the 3rd guy in the scouting report to the 1st guy in the scouting report. That's going to be a challenge for him.
There's Aubrey Dawkins off the Michigan bench. Well, Karis LeVert, as he sits down, one of those guys who didn't have a high major offer. He's going to go with John Gross at Ohio. Then John Gross left, so he had the opportunity to reopen his recruiting and ended up in Michigan. Wasn't going to play as a freshman. Then they decided, you know what, we'll get him in the game. He's going to play a little bit. And has just continued to grow, put on 20 pounds of muscle before last year, just developed, and has really blossomed now into one of the best in the conference.
Talking to Beeline for a while yesterday about Karis LeVert. You know, John never even saw him play in high school. Just watched him on tape for a little bit. Not like he was on everybody's radar. I would try to tell people, you know, Kevin, you know, recruiting rankings, they're helpful. They set the narrative. Generally speaking, they're pretty spot on, but they're not gospel. There are plenty of guys who get ranked high and get to college and think they've accomplished something, and they don't get better. For a lot of these guys, it's better to be overlooked. You come in, you're hungrier, and then when you step on the court and you go up against a player who was rated over you in high school, you want to beat him.
How about Bielfeldt? You just can't stop Max Bielfeldt tonight.
That's Maximus to you. It's Maximus Bielfeldt tonight.
I mean, Mr. Bielfeldt, if he keeps this going, 13 first-half points for Max Bielfeldt. The foul on Bielfeldt along the baseline.
See Walton drawing the defenders and dumping it off to him. Pretty simple basketball. Now he's not going to be able to guard people on the perimeter 20 feet out, but give him credit for trying.
Zach Thomas will go to the line. Bucknell 2 for 2 at the line tonight. And the free throw good. First point for Thomas. John Beilein's no senior roster off to an excellent first half tonight.
Well, who's holding this under his hat? He didn't tell us. I'd be curious to talk to John after the game if he really anticipated giving Bielfeldt this many minutes. He put him in the rotation early on ahead of the freshman Ricky Doyle, which surprised me and interested me. It's hard to be young in college basketball going through the Big Ten. Bielfeldt can give them this type of presence and knock down shots. You don't have to be Dirk Nowitzki now. Set some high screens. You see this 1-3-1 offensive set. This is their bread and butter.
I shouldn't say no seniors. Bielfeldt technically a senior, reclassified as a senior, as Walton pulls up for the jumper, and Bielfeldt with a rebound, but only 4 to shoot. Gotta hurry. Bielfeldt, the fadeaway, and it won't go. This place would have erupted.
I was going to drop the mic if that went in. I was going to leave. Don't worry, folks. There's still time. I might still leave.
No, don't leave. Azanero with 2 before halftime. Can't hit the jumper, and halftime is here. And what a half for Michigan over Bucknell. 48-19. Michigan shooting 55% from the floor in the first half. Our halftime score, Michigan 48, Bucknell 19. Let's join Mike, Steven, and Sean in Chicago with the State Farm halftime report. After a long offseason, good to have Big Ten basketball back and running once more, and the expectations for another great season of excitement will certainly be met in this conference. It has been so good over the last several years, and we expect another terrific year in the Big Ten. Kevin Kugler alongside Seth Davis. Second half underway. Karis LeVert, no good on that one. He is yet to hit from the floor tonight. Just 2 points, 0 for 5 from the floor. Hoffman up top to Ryan Frazier.
LeVert 6 assists and no turnovers in the first half. So on the season, 15 assists, no turnovers so far.
Big block by Donnell. And now the other way for Michigan. LeVert gives it up to Walton. Walton, the dish to Chapman for 3. Rebound, offensive board for Michigan and Zach Irvin.
Chapman not known for his outside shooting. He was 1 for 7 against Hillsdale, but he can add that to his game.
Donnell inside. Nice reverse for Mark Donnell. You know John Beilein, and you know that one of the things he's watching is, with a big lead, how does his team approach the start of this second half? Can they keep the intensity up in a situation that's difficult to maintain intensity? Fallon working inside. Fallon's jumper no good, but a foul on Mark Donnell.
We've been talking about this all night, Kevin. I think Donnell's going to have some problems as we get into league play, going up against bigger, stronger offensive players. He's got skills. He's got height. Not real strong. You see just in the lower body. Fallon just kind of pushes him off the block, spins around him.
Third foul on Mark Donnell, and that's going to prompt a return to the lineup for Max Bielfeldt after the first free throw.
You know, when Mitch McGarry got hurt last year, they thought for a time about taking away Donnell's red shirt. And Beilein deciding to leave the red shirt and try to develop him. He's got to get a little stronger physically, and he will. And he will. He's got talent for sure.
When he showed the commitment this summer, stayed in Ann Arbor all summer long, working with Walton and Irvin, practicing, trying to get better and trying to earn more playing time.
Well, you know, I think one of the most underrated aspects of being a college basketball coach is player development. We think about recruiting, we think about X's and O's, getting your guys better from year to year, and a lot of that has to do with changing their bodies. Who's got to be stronger? Who's got to lose weight?
Eating better, such a big thing to learn for these guys. LeVert, long two, no good, and the rebound and a foul. Fouland, good position, and Max Bielfeldt reaching over, gets his second.
Bielfeldt doesn't foul. Maximus doesn't foul. We don't blow whistles on Maximus. Except when you jump into a guy who's got rebounding position on you, you may want to stick to the floor, but
Fouland inside. They're feeding the post early, Bucknell, and the rebound off the miss by LeVert. LeVert looking to push in transition, going end to end. LeVert to the rim. Can't get the roll, still without a make from the floor. 0 for 7 for Caris LeVert. Casper all the way to the rim, and Casper gets the roll. The senior from Lakeland, Tennessee, one of the 3 captains on this Bucknell squad.
Got by LeVert there.
Chapman, Walton, Irvin, LeVert, and Bielfeldt on the floor for Michigan. And Chapman the long two, but strong, and the rebound to Fouland.
He can take that shot in this game when they're up by a large margin, but he's not gonna butter his bread with a jump shot this season.
Hoffman backs it out to Frazier. Frazier missing on that 3. Bielfeldt the rebound.
Not a great decision.
Turnover for Michigan.
I like the aggressiveness, but in that situation, you got 2 blue shirts there.
A little bit ragged over the first 2 minutes and change for Michigan.
You hit it on the head, Kevin. That's a great comment. You have a big lead and you're at home, and obviously the game is well in hand. And they're not robots out there, obviously, but you're going to maintain your concentration, maintain your edge. That's how you develop for the long term.
Chris Haas, and a foul is called. A little bit of a push by Dom Hoffman. Commits the personal foul. That's his first. Hoffman arguing his case to no avail. Chapman, Caris LeVert. Irvin in the corner, the long two, and the long rebound to Stephen Casper. Now Casper in transition, and it's knocked out of his hands and out of bounds.
See, I think Irvin's got to drive this ball. He's settling for his jump shot a little bit too much. Nice strip by LeVert. Casper had him on his heels, but couldn't convert it.
The jumper is up no good. The rebound tipped around and controlled by Walt.
Nice action by Chapman there.
Walt on the dish to LeVert. Wide open 3. Can't hit. Rebound and a foul. It'll stay on that end as the foul committed inside.
It's as good a look as Caris LeVert is going to get. No one anywhere near him. DJ McClay gets the foul. Not sure what Steve Casper did, except get a rebound over a guy who's 7 inches taller.
Well, they called the foul on McClay, so McClay with his first, and that keeps the possession for Michigan here. As Walton going to work, trying to get Michigan going offensively in this second half. It has been a mighty struggle. 8 possessions, 1 for 8 with a turnover. Bielfeldt for 3. He
Drop
did
the
it
right.
again.
Run out, right up the tunnel, right up the tunnel. Maximus.
That's that poker face from Bielfeldt. 16 points. He's not going to show emotion.
He said, of course, I knew I'd come out. He 3 for 3 from three-point land.
He has matched his season output of made threes from a year ago in this game.
I'll tell you what he's doing. He's earning some minutes for the long term.
Casper's 3, no good. Rebound tipped around and controlled by McClay. Second chance for Bucknell. McClay inside. He's fouled. DJ McClay really stayed with it. And he's a guy who gets a lot of minutes doing that. Effort plays, DJ McClay. Somebody's earning minutes tonight. Max Bielfeldt with his offense. He's got 16 and a 53-22 lead. Bloomington to take on the Hoosiers. Coverage starts at 6 Eastern, presented by April Air on BTN and BTN to go. John Beilein's squad in control with a 53-22 lead. Kevin Kugler alongside Seth Davis. Privileged to witness the Max Bielfeldt show tonight. Tied for the lead in points for the game. 16 points, 6 of 8 shooting. Now Bielfeldt's on the bench right now trying to catch his breath, but you can't cool off somebody who's as hot as Max Bielfeldt by putting him on the bench for a minute.
He is single-handedly heating up Ann Arbor on a cold, wintry night. But I'll tell you what, this last stretch of basketball for Michigan since the start of the second half, not a good way to come out of the locker room. I want to see them grind it out a little bit here, Kevin. I'm saying I think they have a tendency to settle for jump shots. They're such a good jump shooting team. They haven't shot a free throw yet here in the second half. So let's see them grind it out a little bit, get to the line, get into a little bit more of a rhythm.
Foul away for the ball on John Azanero of Bucknell. Azanero awfully quick, but he couldn't get away from that situation, commits the foul. Michigan just 2 for 9 to Seth's point in this half, and Chapman another jump shot, and he comes up empty. The rebound, Steven Casper.
Pretty good baseline out of bounds play, but he couldn't convert.
Moss trying to find some room from the elbow. Good look, couldn't get the roll. Chapman the rebound.
Good battle inside for Chapman there. I like that. Got a little blue collar here, I think.
Here's Irvin. The drive and dish. Albrecht back up top to Irvin for 3. There's Irvin with his 4th made 3 of the night. He's got 19. Casper in the corner to Azanero for 3. And Azanero with just the 2nd made 3 for Bucknell. They're 2 for 12 from behind the arc.
It's been a big problem for them because obviously going to be hard for them to get work done inside. I realize Irvin, making another three-pointer, and again, it's what he does. But I'm just thinking in terms of the long term here for Michigan as we head into the season.
Another 3 fouled on the 3 by Chris Haas. And that's going to send Zach Irvin to the line. First foul on Haas. Here's his make a moment ago.
Nice pass from Spike Albrecht, the shot fake. I'm not saying he shouldn't shoot threes, but again, you're looking for improvement. You're looking for guys who round out their game. If he wants to be a complete basketball player, I mean, you look at his physique. He did a great job in the offseason. You go 6'6", 215. Should be getting a lot done from the stripe this season.
Last year, almost 75% of his shots came from three-point range.
And only 21 free throws all season long.
We'll see some new players coming in. Karis LeVert returning to the lineup for Coach Beilein. And this is a Big Ten season, much anticipated. This league has really put together some fantastic play over the last couple of years. And what are some of the things you're looking at from this league this year? Not player-wise, but just overall storylines.
I think the big difference in the Big Ten, Kevin, the last couple of years is the middle and the bottom has gotten a lot stronger. You've always had a couple of teams at the top who have been at the top of the rankings, but you look at programs like Minnesota, Northwestern is on the come. Nebraska is a very interesting team ranking this year. Tim Miles adding Jim Molinari to his staff, I think was a very good move to tighten up the defense a little bit. But that's the big difference. Purdue's got some freshmen that I know Matt Painter's excited about. And of course, bringing Rutgers and Maryland into the league. So there are not going to be any off nights in this league. Whereas in the past, frankly, you had a definite delineation between the top tier and the bottom tier.
Irvin on the drive, the dish to Albrecht, with Michigan up 58-29. Nice dish for Albrecht and a two-handed stuff for Ricky Doyle.
There's the freshman on the move. Nice two-man game with him and Spike.
20 points off the bench for Michigan. Walton on the push, end-to-end. A whistle and a reach-in.
That's aggressive action. Here you have that screen and roll, simple basketball. Albrecht split the two defenders, and Doyle with the flush. I hope Kate Upton saw that play. That was a great dish by Spike Albrecht.
He came in early, did Doyle. And he, in 3 months, to your point about kids needing to get into shape and changing their body, lowered his body fat from 18% to 10% to get himself on the court. And when they went to Europe, he looked so good. Coach Beeline said, look, we had no choice. We had to figure out a way to get him on the floor when the season started.
And a lot of these high school players, Kevin, they don't have real strength and conditioning programs in high school. And for big players, they always have the toughest adjustment going to college, because when you're that size, Ricky Doyle, in high school, you're talking about going 6'9", 245, you're just bigger than the guys you're playing against. And that's 90% of the game right there. You come to college now, you're going up against guys who are as big, if not bigger than you, certainly stronger than you, certainly more experienced than you. And you've got to get some more tools in your toolbox. So he's done a nice job changing his body. I think he's going to have a chance to play quality minutes.
Irvin with the pull-up after the 16th foul on Bucknell. Doyle inside again, working hard on the glass, can't finish, and the rebound will kick out to Bucknell.
That's lower body explosiveness there. He hit everything but the lower body. And that will come. That was a good fight. And I like Zach Irvin coming off this curl screen at 6'6" and trying to score in the lane. That should be there all night.
J.C. Shao passed to Albrecht, gets the bucket and the foul. Nice attack.
Young
the
freshman.
Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Pennsylvania.
Says, take this, Maximus, by Albrecht. Irvin slow to get over, and Ricky Doyle slow to get over. Dave Paulson definitely likes his freshman on this team. Shao was, I mentioned, really good in that win over Marist. Scored 7 points in the last 2 minutes. Pushed them over the top. Fallon is a nice-looking freshman for Bucknell as well. They're young like Michigan is young.
One thing that you notice with this roster for Bucknell, several kids on this roster, coaches' sons, high basketball IQ on a lot of these Bucknell players. Shao, Haas, both dads coaches, long time.
Now DJ Wilson, number 5, another freshman in the game for Michigan.
Here's Albrecht around the screen for 3. It rolls out. Fallon, the Bucknell freshman, with the rebound. And all Michigan from the jump tonight, 60-31, as Shao launches the 3, a little strong, and Albrecht going the other way.
Shao is not shy. That we know.
Had 12 points in the opener in the win over Marist. Albrecht on the bounce to Levert. Pull-up jumper is good, and Karis Levert with his first made field goal. He's 1 for 9 from the floor. And on a night where Karis Levert is 1 for 9, he does have 6 rebounds. He has 6 assists, and his team is up 31. Fallon with a little hook. Finds the bottom of the net. And Fallon with 9. Wanted Levert, DJ Wilson back to Albrecht. Albrecht, little hesitation, and the reverse won't go.
He loves to turn down those screens and go baseline. He can go right and he can go left.
He struggled with those scoops in the opener against Hillsdale, missed a few of those. Levert with the tap. Almost got it. Frazier able to get it back. Still plenty of time for Bucknell. On the drive, partially blocked by DJ Wilson. Here comes Walton. Hesitation and a foul.
Great attack.
Right at Frazier, he got his 4th.
Great attack.
3rd foul, rather, on Frazier. But still some foul troubles for one of the better defensive players on Bucknell. Michigan with Albrecht and Levert, his first made field goal, 62-33, and the defense shining again for Michigan. This is now, and some of the things now on the mind of Seth Davis this year.
I'm the last guy to suggest that a team can go undefeated. My only point is, this time last year, everyone was talking about Kentucky maybe going undefeated, and nobody's saying it this year when this team is much more likely to do it. And by the way, Florida went undefeated in the SEC last season. Florida not as good this year. They lost to Miami tonight. They did that last year with a team that featured 4 seniors, none of whom got drafted by the NBA. So we're going to see Kentucky tomorrow night. They're going to play against Kansas. I think Kansas is a little soft inside. That's where Kentucky is strong. Their toughest non-conference game is at Louisville. So it's not going to be easy for them to get to January undefeated. But if they do,
look out.
Look out. Look out.
What a problem Coach Calipari has.
Yeah,
how to manage that rotation of talent left and right.
I also mentioned in there about Gonzaga. They're playing SMU tonight. This is certainly Mark Few's deepest team at Gonzaga. And it could be his best defensive team. They just need a little bit more luck in the NCAA tournament. We've seen VCU and George Mason and Butler and Wichita State, all these mid-major schools get to the Final Four. It's time for Gonzaga to get there. This could be the year.
You mentioned SMU. We'll see them coming up as Irvin drives it up in. We'll see them Thursday night on BTN against the Hoosiers, part of the basketball doubleheader on Thursday night.
And that's Zach Irvin using his left and getting to the rim. That's what we'd like to see. Did it in transition. I'd like to see a little bit more in the half court.
Irvin 1 point shy of his career high. That came against Coppin State, 24 points. He's got 23 tonight and another rebound for Irvin. That's his 5th.
And I love when Irvin and Walton, and especially Levert, they go to the defensive boards. It's a great thing because they don't have to throw that outlet pass. You can release the guys down the court. It's a great way to play. Rip and run. Get a defensive rebound and lead the break.
Chris Haas pushed out by DJ Wilson. Freshman showing some defensive prowess.
I know my man Stephen Bardo back in the studio in Chicago would love to play with these guys. He would cherry pick all night.
Levert, good work coming back defensively by Hoffman and Azadero on Karis Levert. Another example of what this young man is going to be prepared to do. Not shooting it great tonight, but it's an important part of the game, but it's not the only part of the game. And what I like also about Levert is he's not letting his offense and whether his shot is falling dictate how he plays. A lot of college basketball players, the first couple shots don't go in, they get frustrated. There are other aspects to the game that you can excel in, and Karis Levert, his toolbox is full. He's going to use all of them this season. I told you I'd go man crush on Levert. The guy's got one field goal, and I'm still madly in love. We've got a lot of crushes working tonight. Although it's more respect for Bielefeld. Out of bounds, it belongs to Bucknell. Bakari Alexander set the tone by, making this a wedding. So there's a lot of love in the arena. Well, he wanted to join defense and rebounding together. Rebounding 32-23, the edge for Michigan. Turnovers forced 14. Bucknell shooting 32%. So that's Bielefeld. Bielefeld's the wedding crasher. Maximus crashed this wedding. Schau had it knocked out by Levert. Again, those quick hands by Levert, just trying to get in there and knock it away. It was a concern, though, because in the opener, Hillsdale did make 48% from the foul line. So only John Beilein could take a game where his team wins by 24 and lose sleep because they gave up too many shots. It was an interesting conversation we had with him earlier, talking about how important it is to play teams like Bucknell that are programs, not teams that have different players that come in and have to learn the system from the start every year, but programs that guys are 2 or 3 years in the system. He says it's a great test for his team to see what they do against a school that knows exactly what's happening on the court. That is true, although, Kevin, this particular Bucknell team is relatively inexperienced compared to what they've had in the past. Nice pass inside, finding Schau. Corey Starkey with good vision. Starkey's a guy who came on late last season, didn't play for most of the year, and then Dave Paulson decided to go big and paid off down the stretch. Another Michigan guy. His brother Kevin is an alum and was a president at one point of the Maze Rage, the student body here in Chrysler Center. Chris Haas backing it out to Azanero, and now to Schau for 3. Schau don't care. Schau don't care. I like it. I like his moxie. Walt. 8 boards for Derek Walt. Leading the way for Michigan. On the glass. He's got 12 points as well. 15 to shoot for Walt. And the hand check called on Chris Haas. His second personal foul. 1-and-1 opportunity after the timeout. Michigan by 30. It's a different deal. It takes time to bake that cake. Haas again. Back-to-back threes. There you go. For Chris Haas. Can we just have everybody leave the floor and let Haas and Bielefeld play one-on-one full court the rest of the way? That would be awesome television. Haas now 3 for 6 from behind the arc. 13 points for Chris Haas.
And the fact that we've gone this long without my mentioning that Les Moonves is a Bucknell grad, I think you should be very impressed with.
I am very impressed. It made a graphic earlier.
If Les is watching, just want to say hello.
There are better days ahead for the alma mater.
Hope you're well.
Haas, long two. Oh, now Chris Haas starting to feel it.
Chris Haas don't care. He's a bouncy kid, you know. He could be a high major player.
8-0 Haas-fueled run, all 8 from Chris Haas. Finishing like he did last year. He had double figures in 6 around the Big Ten. Coming up right after we're done here in Ann Arbor. Kevin Kugler alongside Seth Davis, 67-43. 24 points the lead for Michigan, but Michigan just 7 of 23 in the second half from the floor and 1 for their last 5. An 8-0 Bucknell run prompting the timeout.
Well, they weren't quite as sharp coming out of the locker room. I think that's to be expected. I think they've done a good job maintaining their effort and their energy, especially on the defensive end.
Walton on the drive and dish to Bielfeldt, and Bielfeldt again. He's got 18.
I say they retire his jersey tonight. Is that an option? I'm looking at Cassie Russell and Glenn Rice up there.
Big 3 again for Haas.
Haas, I'll tell you what. Today's day and age of college basketball, Dave Paulson better cool him off, because guys like Haas are transferring up now to, you know, the high major schools.
11 points in the last 45 seconds for Haas as Albrecht answers with a 2.
Turns down the screen, drives baseline. That's the tendency moving forward.
Zanero. Starkey to his Michigan brother. And another 3 for Chris Haas. Man, is he hot right now. He's got 21. You tip your cap to Bucknell. These kids not quitting at all.
Not at all.
If nothing else, Bucknell's going to walk out of here with Haas feeling much better about his role on this team. The answer from Derek Walton Jr.
And that's what you get when you're playing Albrecht and Walton together at the same time. They did it some last year, but they're going to do it a lot more this year. And with Walton shooting as well as he's been shooting this early in the season, it's going to work. It's just a great look.
Here's Zanero for 3. And a foul against Nana Fowlin of Bucknell. 3:29 remaining in this ball game. Albrecht finding Derek Walton Jr. in the studio in Chicago. In the Big Ten Conference, Michigan going to move to 2-0 on the season. And some of the storylines, Seth, for the Big Ten Conference this year.
Who can challenge Wisconsin? That's going to be my biggest question. And what's interesting is we're used to Bo Ryan's team coming in kind of under the radar. Well, who do they really have? But we know they have Bo. They're good. We know who they have. Michigan State, I mentioned, you know, I watched their game against Navy, Kevin, and they struggled. They really struggled. And they've got a lot of work to do. Denzel Valentine is one of those guys. You go from fourth in this guy to fourth to second. You go from being a complimentary guy to needing to be a featured guy. There's a transition involved there, and their bigs are not ready for, you know, for prime time either. So obviously with Tom Izzo there, and you know, Brandon Dawson's going to have a good year on the interior, but it's not going to be easy for Michigan State to score. So they're going to need to be a really, really good defensive team, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to get there.
Turnover by Michigan. Back to Bucknell. Bucknell's hit 5 of their last 5 from the floor, mainly driven by Chris Haas. Zanero. Casper on the drive, the scoop, the finish, and the foul.
Very crafty drive. Yeah, Casper's a good little player here. Watch him take Abdul Rahman. Got a couple of freshmen in the game now, Abdul Rahman and Aubrey Dawkins. And Steve Casper took advantage. Very crafty, tough point guard. Just can't shoot it. He's a 24% three-point shooter and not a really good foul shooter either.
Last year was better, and he shot just 58% at the free throw line.
And that means it's a hard situation because he's your point guard, and it's hard to leave him in a close game late if he's not going to knock down his free throws. but he's a tough kid. He gets to the rim. There was no quit in Bucknell tonight.
Well, the Patriot League is going to be very interesting this year. Wide open league. I don't know that Bucknell's got the veterans or the scorers to win the league, but they'll play a role.
American University is pretty much the prohibitive favorite. They've got most of the team back from the squad that won the league last year.
Substitutions for Bucknell as Haas and Starkey leave, the chance to play in their home state. Those two really the impetus for Bucknell coming to play this game at Michigan. Dave Paulson telling us earlier today, his goal is to get all his kids home at least one time during the course of their tenure.
It's one of the things, it's kind of like senior day. I love about college basketball. A lot of programs do that. They take their teams to a location that a senior in the program grew up so he can have that experience of going home.
Remember Kansas playing up in North Dakota several years ago.
Nice to see Mike Davis returning to Assembly Hall tonight, by the way. That was kind of an interesting scene, I'm sure.
Game earlier on BTN, Indiana with the victory. On the drive, Ja'Shea Singleton. And booted away. Great play by Albrecht. Diving with 2:05 to go in a 22-point game. Aubrey Dawkins.
Aubrey Dawkins is a good-looking freshman, by the way. Of course, Johnny Dawkins' son. Were it not for the blood of perimeter veterans on this Michigan team, I think Aubrey Dawkins could really contribute at this level.
Good rebound by Doyle, trying to muscle it up inside. They got the two.
By the way, before we go off the air, I do want to mention that there is a Division III transfer in this program named Duncan Robinson, who came from Williams College. And I don't want to overstate what I saw in practice yesterday. It was just one practice, but in watching this young man play and in talking to the coaching staff, Michigan has itself a really good basketball player. Classic stretch four, kind of like the role that Kevin Pittsnoggle played back at West Virginia. If you're a stretch four, John Beilein's offense is a great place to play. Duncan Robinson can really, really shoot the basketball, and John Beilein is going to really expect a lot and hope for a lot from him next year.
Turnover on the push, nice dish, the drive, and a block. The follow won't go. Rebound tipped out to Doyle. Doyle on the drive, the contact, and he'll go to the line for a pair. Here's tonight's Duluth Trading hardest working player, Zach Irvin, 23 points, 8 of 13 from the floor, 4 of 5 from 3, and the guy on his right on the left side of your screen.
A smile, Maximus. Take a bow, Maximus. We were entertained. We were entertained tonight by Max Bielfeldt.
Entertained by Zach Irvin as well. One shy of his career high. Just a very solid start to the season for Irvin. 44 points in 2 games.
He's confident. He did a great job with his body in the offseason. He's using his size. I still want to see him get to the foul line more. I hate to quibble. That's what I do. Get to the foul line. You're a 6'6" guard. And by the way, when you're that good of a shooter, you become a lot quicker. So he should be able to get by a lot of defenders. And when he takes that next step, able to put the ball on the deck, get to the rim, get to the foul line, and set up plays for his teammates, that's when he becomes a legitimate NBA prospect. That's the development arc that he will take this season and I assume next season as well.
Ricky Doyle with the personal. His second on the drive by Ja'Shea Singleton. Started the broadcast hearing from Bakari Alexander in the locker room. Marriage of defense and rebounding. 17 turnovers forced tonight, and they've held Bucknell to a 39% shooting percentage.
Well, I hope these players aren't expecting a honeymoon.
No.
Because it is early, and they are playing. They're playing for coaches who are hard to please, which is like being in a marriage, by the way. I know my wife is very difficult to please.
I am not going to tread on those sheets of thin ice here.
I'm baiting you,
not
Kevin.
At all. I've been in the marriage game a while. I'm not gonna go there. Wilson for 3. Wild shot, no good. Rebound battled for inside, and Aubrey Dawkins gets the loose ball.
There's time for one more Bielfeldt 3. Call a timeout. Get Maximus back in the game. One more timeout, John. Come on.
Sean Lonergan dribbling this one out. Michigan does not have to shoot it again. Lonergan is not going to, and this ball game is over.
And Michigan, a 2-0 start to the season. 77-53, the final in Ann Arbor. We'll wrap things up from Chrysler Center in a moment.